Okay, so welcome back. Let's finish our discussion on the chapter 4, right? Yung double entry bookkeeping. So now you know uh, how transactions affect each uh, each element, right? Each account. How every transaction increases or decreases every one of these accounts. Pero not necessarily na na limited lang sa ito. There are many types of accounts. Remember that. Okay, so now we will be explaining the use of the accounts. Using the accounts helps us understand better how it helps us understand the increases and decreases of every transaction for every account. It also helps us understand the effects of debit and credit. Okay, so let's take a look again at the illustrations. On October 1, Reposer obtained funds to start the business by withdrawing 800,000 from his personal savings. He deposited the money in a new bank account that he opened in the name of the firm, Reposer Accounting Services. Okay, so once again, on October 1, uh, Reposer invested 800,000 in his business, right? So take note again that uh, we're only concerned with the transactions affecting the business. Wala tayong pakialam kay Reposar in his personal transactions. We're only concerned with Reposar Accounting Services. Okay, so dahil nag-invest si Reposar sa business, we need to record yung mga increases from the business. So we will be increasing cash kasi nga naka-receive ang business ng cash for 800,000. Okay? We will also be increasing Reposar capital because if the investment increases the ownership of Reposar in a business. Okay, so we will be increasing cash and Reposar capital. So take note that increase in cash is represented by putting the amount in the left side or in the debit side. Kasi nga yung cash is your asset. Tapos yung asset is on the left side of the accounting equation, right? So kapag nasa left side sa accounting equation, and every increases should be represented by on the left side. So in this case, yung debit. While the owner's equity naman, it is on the right side of the accounting equation. So every increases in the equity should be represented by the right side, or in this case, yung credit. Okay, so increases in asset should be recorded in the debit on the left side, while increases in the equity should be recorded in the credit or the right side. Okay, so we debit cash 800,000 and we credit Reposar capital 800,000. Next, on October 3, Manong Song bought a computer, copy machine, a fax machine, calculators, and other necessary equipment from M. Medina Inc. at a cost of 100,000. M. Medina Inc. agreed to allow 60 days for a firm to pay the bill. Okay, so once again, nag-acquire ang business represented by Manong Song, represent ni Manong Song, ng mga equipment. So it cost 100,000. Hindi tayo nagbayad agad kasi nga yung nagbilan natin, nag-agree sila na bigyan tayo ng 60 days para magbayad. So meron tayong utang, right? So increases in the equipment. An equipment is an asset. Sa asset yung equipment. So increases in the equipment should be recorded in the debit side. So debit 100,000. While lumaki din naman ang utang natin, right? So yung utang natin or your liability, specifically your accounts payable, should be increased. So yung liability, katulad lang din ng owner's equity na nasa right side of the accounting equation. So every increases in the liability should be recorded in the right side or in the credit side. So we will be crediting accounts payable 100,000. Okay? Just to remind you, yung accounts payable, ito yung mga utang natin. Yung mga binili natin na hindi natin pa binabayaran. Right? So, payable, magpe-pay tayo in the future. That's why it's called payable. It's on account, kaya accounts payable. So, we will be crediting 100,000. So, once again, the transaction na bumili tayo ng equipment at at 100,000 pero hindi pa tayo nagbayad, we will be recording it as a debit to equipment and a credit to accounts payable. Next, on October 5, Manong Song placed an order for toner, fax paper, bond paper, CDs, pens, folders, and other supplies at a cost of 20,000. The entity that sold the items, Cavite Supplies Inc., requires cash payments from businesses that are under 6 months old. Proposal accounting services therefore included a check with this order. Okay, so this time, bumili naman tayo ng supplies costing 20,000. And this time, hindi tayo, ay required tayong magbayad ng pera. It requires us for the cash payment. So, we paid using a check. And yung check, it is once again, it is under your cash. Right? So, kahit hindi necessary na pera, pero it is still under your cash. Okay, so, first, let's take a look. Bumili tayo ng supplies, right? So, nag-increase ang supplies natin. And supplies are, once again, asset yan. Asset natin. So, kapag lumaki ang asset, we should be recording it on the left side. So, it is a debit. So, we debited 20,000 under the supplies. Tapos, nagbayad tayo ng pera. At dahil nagbayad tayo ng pera, it is a decrease of cash. Right? So, yung asset again is on the left side. So, any increases in the asset should be on the left side, while any decreases in the asset should be on the right side. Kabaliktaran ng increases niya. Siyempre. So, we should be crediting cash for 20,000 kasi nga lumiit ang cash natin from the payment of supplies. Okay? On October 9, Manong Song decided to pay 40,000 to M. Medina Inc. to reduce the firm's debt to that business. Okay, so nagbayad tayo ng utang from the acquisition of the equipment, right? So yung utang natin noon, nagbayad tayo ng 40,000. So from the 40,000, lumiit ang utang natin kasi nga nagbayad tayo, di ba? So kapag lumiit ang utang natin, remember, ang utang is a liability. And liability is on the right side of the accounting equation. So any increases in the liability should be on the right side or the credit, while any decreases in the liability should be, of course, kabaliktaran on the left side or the debit side. So we will be recording the decrease in liability by debiting 40,000 in the accounts payable. Tapos, kasi nga nagbayad tayo, we will be deducting or decreasing your cash, right? So any decreases in cash should be once again on the credit side. So, kabaliktaran. So, 40,000. Diba? Napansin nyo, palagi merong debit at merong credit. So, in this case, yung debit natin is yung accounts payable na 40,000 kasi nga lumiit siya yung accounts payable. While yung credit naman natin is your cash kasi lumiit yung cash of 40,000. Okay? Tapos, kung mapapansin nyo ulit, unlike sa previous illustration natin, by using a T account, makikita natin yung mga previous transactions, right? So, under cash, makikita natin na on October 1, nag-increase siya ng 800,000. While on October 5, nag-decrease siya ng 20,000. And on October 9, nag-decrease ulit siya ng 40,000. So, this is an advantage of a T account. Makikita natin yung mga transactions previously for every account. Next naman, October 13, Refusar Accounting Services earned 70,000 of revenue from charge account clients. These clients are allowed 30 days to pay. Okay, so ngayon naman, tayo ang nagpautang. Right? Nag-render tayo ng services or nagtrabaho tayo to the customers pero hindi pa sila nagbabayad. So, meron silang utang na 70,000. Okay? Dahil meron silang utang, meron tayong mare-receive. Okay? Kung meron tayong mare-receive in the future, we call that accounts receivable. Okay? So, yung accounts receivable. Accounts receivable is an asset. Okay, so kapag lumaki ang mare-receive natin, right? Accounts receivable increases, we will be recording that using a debit for 70,000. While from the from the mismong pinagtrabaho natin, dahil nga nagtrabaho tayo, meron tayong revenue, meron tayong income, right? So from that, kahit wala pang pera na nare-receive, it's still an income because we are using accrual method. So meaning, hindi basis ang pera para mag-record tayo ng income. Ang basis ng income natin is kung nagtrabaho ba tayo or nagbenta. So dahil dito nagtrabaho tayo, it is already an income. So we will be recording an income. So income increases your owner's equity. Right? So kapag nag-increase ang owner's equity is sasamahan niya or tutularin niya ang owner's equity. So, we will be increasing income by a credit for 70,000. Okay, take note again, that in this transaction, meron tayong debit, in this case, accounts receivable, debit of 70,000, and a credit to fees revenue of 70,000. So, yung fees revenue, these are your income. Revenue kasi is your income. Okay? Repository Accounting Services. On October 18, Repository Accounting Services hired an accounting staff on October 1 to help in the business. Okay, so on October 1, nag-hire tayo. So on October 18, nagbayad na tayo ng salaries nila. Right? So in the firm paid 25,000 in salaries for this employee and Jixel Manongsong. Okay, so nagbayad tayo ng 25,000 in salaries. Right? So first, in this case, right, meron tayong decrease in cash, right? Meron tayong pagkawala ng pera kasi nagbayad tayo. So, the decrease in cash, once again, should be on the credit side. Kasi nga asset siya. So, we will be crediting 25,000 from the asset. Tapos, yung pagbabayad natin, right, nagbayad tayo pero wala tayong nakuhang asset, right, hindi naman tayo bumili. Tapos, wala namang na-affect na liabilities. Meaning, hindi naman tayo nagbayad ng utang from the decrease of the asset. So, dahil walang na-affect na asset and walang na-affect na liabilities, it is an expense. Expense to, or meaning gastos natin ito, right? So, yung expense, it decreases your owner's equity. It decreases your owner's equity. So, kapag nagka-expense tayo, we should be recording that on the debit side. Right? So, take note, kapag nag-decrease ang owner's equity, kabaliktaran siya ng credit, which is on the debit. So, we will be recording that on the debit side. So, we will be increasing your expense for 25,000 and decreasing your asset by 25,000. October 23, Repository Accounting Services received 30,000 from clients who previously bought services on account. This cash was applied to their account. So, remember noon na merong utang yung mga customers natin. Well, ngayon, nakakollect na tayo ng 30,000. Okay, so, dahil nakakollect tayo ng 30,000, siyempre, mag-i-increase ang cash natin. So, any increases in cash should be on the debit side or on the left side. So, debit your 30,000, debit your cash, then 30,000. Tapos, dahil nga nag-collect tayo from the client na may utang noon, siyempre, liliit ang utang na nila. So, liliit ang mere-receive natin. So, we will be decreasing our accounts receivable. So, any decreases, of course, in the asset should be in the credit side. So, we will be crediting accounts receivable 30,000. Okay, so in this transaction, we debited cash, 30,000, and we credited accounts receivable, 30,000. Okay? On October 27, Repository Accounting Services earned a total of 210,000 in revenue from clients who paid cash for accounting and bookkeeping services. So in this transaction, naka-receive tayo ng cash for our income, right? So dahil nga nagbayad sila ng pera, we will be increasing cash by 210,000. So, we debit cash, 210,000. Tapos, dahil nga nagtrabaho na naman tayo, right? We earned a total of 210,000 for accounting and bookkeeping services. So, nagtrabaho na naman tayo. So, that is an income on our part. So, we will be increasing income by 210,000. So, we credit fees revenue 210,000. So, in this transaction, we credited cash 210,000 and we credited fees revenue 210,000. On October 30, Reposar Accounting Services received a 35,000 bill for the utilities that it had used during the month. A check was issued to pay the bill immediately. Okay, so naka-receive tayo ng bill for utilities, right? Tapos nag-issue tayo ng check. So dahil nag-issue tayo ng check, meaning nagbayad tayo using check, that is a decrease in your asset, right? Or a decrease in your cash. So we should be crediting your cash, 35,000, kasi nga lumit ang cash natin. Tapos dahil meron tayong bill for utilities, right? Ano yung utilities? This is your for your water expenses, electricity, right? Telephone expense. So all of these are your utilities. So this is it is a gastos, right? Gastos ito yung 35,000. It is an expense. So utilities expense. So dahil lumaki ang expense natin, lumaki ang gastos natin, we need to debit it. Kasi nga expense siya, paliliitin niya ang owner's equity, thus kabaliktaran niya ang owner's equity, so debit siya. So utilities expense, we debited 35,000. So once again, under this transaction, we debited utilities expense 35,000 and we credited cash for 35,000. October 31, Refusar Accounting Services issued a check as payment for office rent for October. The lease contract Refusar signed specifically a month rent of 45,000. Okay, so this time nagbayad naman tayo ng rent. Okay, so once again, rent is an expense. Right? So sana alam niyo na ang mga expenses natin, right? Ang expenses natin, ito yung mga gastusin natin na hindi siya related sa pag-acquire ng asset and hindi siya related sa pagbayad ng utang. Right? So, expenses ito. So, we need to, kasi nga meron tayong na-incur na expenses. So, we need to increase your expense, specifically your rent expense. Kasi nga, for rent ito. So, rent expense increases by 45,000. Okay? We debit it. Kasi nga, kabaliktaran siya ng owner's equity. Debit 45,000 by rent expense. Tapos, dahil nga nagbayad tayo ng 45,000, we will be decreasing your cash for 45,000. So, we will credit cash 45,000. So, in this transaction, we debited rent expense 45,000 and we credited cash 45,000. On October 31, Ray Fernan Refusar withdrew 150,000 in cash from the business to pay for personal expenses. Okay, so, si Ray Fernan nag-withdraw siya ng 150,000 from the business. So, in the business's point of view, nawalan tayo ng pera ng 150,000. So, we will be decreasing cash, 150,000. Tapos, dahil nga nag-withdraw si Ray Fernan ng 150,000, lumiit ang ownership niya in the business. So, this is part of it will be decreasing your owner's equity. Specifically, ang account na gagamitin natin is Refusar withdrawal. Okay, so this represents the withdrawals of the owner. So, we will be debiting it 150,000 kasi nga, ang withdrawals, papaliitin niya ang owner's equity. So, kabaliktaran lang siya ng owner's equity. So, instead of credit, we need to debit it. So, we debit Refusar withdrawals 150,000 and we credit cash 150,000. Okay, so yun, that is how you use AT account, right? So instead sa previous illustration na we just simply add and deduct from the balances of every account, this time meron tayong specific na log para sa mga increases niya and mga decreases for every account. Okay, so sana maintindihan nyo yung mga rules of debit and credit. Sana ma-analyze nyo kung ano bang na-affect sa mga transaction. Kung na-affect ba is your asset, na-affect ba is your liabilities, na-affect ba is your owner's equity, or your income or your expenses. So you should know how to analyze every transaction. Right? So distinction between revenues and receipts. Receipts. At this point, it will be useful to learn the distinction between revenues and receipts as illustrated in the following table. The table shows various types of sales transactions and classifies the effect of each on cash receipts and sales revenues for this year. Okay, so meron tayong difference kasi, 'di ba? Hindi basis natin ang cash para mag-record ng revenue. So in this part, we will be distinguishing yung cash and your pag-record ng cash and pag-record ng revenue. So first transaction is your cash sales made this year. Okay, so yung cash sales, this is our sales or mga nabenta na naka-receive agad tayo ng cash. Meaning nagbayad sila ng cash. So walang utang. Right? So in this transaction, meron tayong na-receive ng cash na 200,000. Tapos meron din tayong ma-record na revenue na 200,000. Why? Kasi ang basis ng pag-record natin ng revenue is on the sales mismo. Yung sales natin is made this year. So, this year natin i-record ang sales na yon. Kaya, magiging revenue siya this year. So, take note na yung is this year lang ha. Number 2, credit sales made last year and cash received this year. Okay, so yung sales natin is last year pa siya naganap. Last year pa tayo nagbenta, pero ngayon lang tayo nakaka-receive ng pera. So, syempre, this year, meron tayong na-receive na 300,000 na cash. Pero magre-record ba tayo ng revenue? That is a no-no. Okay, so we will not be recording any revenue kasi nga, sales were made last year, hindi siya this year. Number 3, credit sales made this year and cash received this year. Okay, so in this transaction, meron tayong sales or nagbenta tayo this year, tapos nakakollect din tayo this year. So hindi sila agad nagbayad ng pera, pero nakakollect naman tayo the same year. Right? So in this year, we received 400,000. So we will be recording yung cash, 400,000. Tapos after first pala is i-record natin yung revenue. Kasi nga, nagbenta tayo this year. So, we will be recording the sales revenue, 400,000. Tapos, dahil nga naka-receive tayo ng cash this year din, magre-record tayo ng cash this year for 400,000. Okay, or number 4, credit sales made this year, cash to be received next year. So, meron tayong benta ngayon, this year, pero ang makokollect pa lang natin next year, right? So, in this case, wala tayong ma-record ng cash kasi nga next year pa tayo makaka-receive ng cash. Pero, meron tayong i-record na revenue kasi nga yung sales natin is this year, right? So, yung basis natin ng revenue again is your sales and not your cash. Okay, so, last topic natin, yung effects of transactions. Okay, so, it will be beneficial in the long term to be able to understand a classification approach that emphasizes the effect of accounting events rather than the recording procedures involved. Every accountable event has a dual but self-balancing effect on the accounting equation. Okay, recording these events will not in any manner affect the equality of the basic accounting model. The 9 types of effects of transaction are as follows. So, every transaction, pwedeng ganito ang effect niya, right? Pero, these transactions, these effects on the accounting equation, it will not, hindi niya ma-affect yung balance ng accounting equation natin. So, remember, our accounting equation is your assets is equal to your liabilities plus owner's equity. Okay, so, first transaction, increase in asset and increase in liability. Okay, so, kapag meron tayong increase in assets, right? syempre, we need to increase the other side for the liability. So you either we increase your owner's equity or liability to be balanced. Next, increase in asset, increase in owner's equity. So yun nga, yung dalawa. First part is any increases in asset can be uh, followed out with the followed up with the increase of liability and owner's equity para mag-balance yung both sides, right? Next naman, number three, increase in one asset is equal to the decrease in another asset. So, kapag nag-increase ang left side or the asset, pwedeng mabalance by decreasing the left side as well. So, bale walang effect in the total asset, right? So, an example is bumili tayo ng asset. So, bumili tayo ng, say, equipment or ng, equipment. So, dahil bumili tayo ng equipment, tumaas ang asset natin through the increase of equipment, pero lumiit naman ang asset natin through the decrease of the cash, right? So, tumaas ang equipment, bumaba naman yung cash. So, the effect on the total assets will be the same, will be zero. So, walang effect in the total assets. For decrease in asset and decrease in liability. So, yung 4 and 5, any decreases naman in your asset can be balanced by the decrease in either the liability or the owner's equity. Siyempre, kapag lumiit yung left side, pwede mong mabalance by decreasing also the right side. Right? So, number 7, number 6, any increase in liability can be paired with the decrease in the owner's equity. So, and number 7, any increase in owner's equity can be paired with the decrease in liability. So, parehas lang sila, right? Kabaliktaran lang nila. So any increases on the right side can be accompanied by the decrease of the right side. So yung right side na sinasabi ko is your liability and your owner's equity, right? So kapag nag-increase ang liability, siyempre mag-i-increase on the right side. Tapos yung decrease in the owner's equity, magdi-decrease naman on the right side as well. So bale mag-offset yung effects nila on the right side. Bale, yung equality in the accounting equation, walang effect. Magiging balance pa rin. Number 8, increase in one liability, decrease in another liability. Bale, pares lang din sila ng sa asset. Right, so, increase in owner's equity is accompanied by any decreases in the owner's equity. So, pares lang din sila ng asset. So, any increases in the right side can be paired with any decreases on the right side. So, yun. So yes, that will end our discussion on our chapter 4. Okay, sana naintindihan nyo ang lessons natin, and that will be the end of our lesson for 2020. Okay, so Merry Christmas class. I hope you have a good holiday. Thank you and goodbye.